Hello and welcome to my channel. So this video is going to show you how to make your own custom skill for Sims 3. I am not going to create a new project and instead will use the same that I've been using for my previous tutorials. But still I will create new namespaces and classes, so it's still going to feel new. So anyway, let's get started. So first we're going to create a new namespace and I'm going to call this namespace pudding face dash skill tutorial. This is an underscore, I think, not a dash. I don't know the exact names of symbols. So yeah, pudding face and then skill tutorial. And inside this namespace we are going to create a new class, and I'm going to call this class, so write public class skill bootstrapper example class and colon game object. So this class is inheriting from the game object class. And inside this class write static bool has been loaded equals to false. And then tunable protected static bool k instantiator tree equals to false. So this k instantiator tree is what we're going to change into true via XML, and that will activate this skill part of the mod, activate the script. And now we're going to create a constructor for this class. So write static skill bootstrapper example class, and then inside this constructor we're going to write load save manager dot object groups preload plus equals to skill bootstrapper example class dot on preload. So load save manager is the class related to loading up a new game or is loaded saved game, and the dot object groups preload is the different types of objects that will be loaded into the game, and plus equal to through this we are adding our own method on preload to this, but we are getting an error because we haven't created our on preload method yet. So let's do that. Now write static void on preload, and inside this write try and curly brackets if has been loaded equals to true, return. And then in the next line write has been loaded equals to true. So we're doing this so that this script doesn't keep running multiple times, and instead has been loaded will become true after it loads once. and then it will not run anymore. Now in the next line, write XML DB data, and then data equals to XML DB data dot read data brackets new resource key comma false. So this XML-DB data, it's so we can read from XML file and then load that data into the game. This is similar to how we have made moodlets. In fact, much of this tutorial is similar to the moodlet tutorial. And so this resource key, it's not actually going to be empty inside the bracket. We're going to write data of the XML file that we will create later in this tutorial. But for now, we're leaving it empty. And now, so here write if data equals to null, return. And next, write skill manager dot parse skill data brackets data comma true. So this skill manager will parse the data from the XML from XML DB data, and this will add the skill to the game. And now we are done with the try for now, so we're going to create a catch. So try and catch are for error handling. In case something goes wrong in the try bracket, instead of the game crashing or getting an error, it will instead catch it. So write catch and brackets exception x, and inside this catch we'll just return. So we are now done with our skill booter class, and now let's make the actual skill class. So write public class tutorial custom skill colon skill. So tutorial custom skill will be the name of our class for the skill, and then it will inherit from the skill class. And inside this class we are going to create two constructors. So write public tutorial custom skill brackets skill names GUID, and this inherits from base brackets GUID and curly brackets, and we're not going to write anything inside this. And then the next constructor, write private tutorial custom skill brackets and then curly brackets, and we are going to leave this empty as well. Okay, and now come to your package file of the mod, and here we are going to create a new resource. So we're going to create an XML file to make our K instantiator tree true. So resource add, and then we're going to create a file of type XML 0x033 and the rest. And for group, we're going to write 0, and for instance, we're going to write the name of our namespace and then the name of the class where K instantiator tree is in. So in my case, it is pudding face skill tutorial dot skill bootstrapper example class, and then press the FNV64 button and then OK. And now let's copy this from our previous tutorial for our interaction tutorial, and then we're going to paste it in our newly created XML. But we are going to change this K instantiator to K instantiator tree, so add a tree suffix. To be honest, adding tree wasn't really needed, but since we added it in our script, so we have to add it here as well. And keeping them different numbers helps us identify what is for what much more easily. Okay, and now we are done with the XML for our instantiator, and so let's create our skill file. So again, go resource add, and the type of resource will be SKIL, and so this is 0xA8, so that's the SKIL skill file. And for group, we'll write 0, and for name, we're going to write pudding face tutorial skill and then skill again, but with one L. And this name has to be unique, but otherwise it can be what you choose it to be. And then click FNV64 and then OK. I suggest adding the skill suffix though, the SKIL with one L skill. So I'm not sure, but I think that might be necessary. I think some testing should be done whether it is necessary or not. But I suggest adding it for your project. And now we're going to edit with Notepad. And I'm going to copy from my enhanced genies mod the custom genie magic skill that I made. So I'm going to copy everything from that mod to here and then change it. That's a lot less work than manually writing everything. You can copy from any other skill mod though. It's not necessary that it has to be enhanced genies. So if you have seen my Moodlet tutorial or know how to create your own Moodlet, then you'll see this is a lot similar to this. The buffs XMLs that we create for our custom Moodlets and custom this skill, it's very similar, and we're going to not change anything inside the first skill list, and the first slash skill list. Everything inside these two will be the same, but in the next skill list and slash skill list. This is where we will change it from Genie magic skill to our own tutorial skill. So for now, I'm not going to change the skill name and skill description because that will require STBL creation, and we're going to do that later in this tutorial. For now, these will remain unchanged. So basically, our skill will appear as Genie magic. So in my game, there will be 2 Genie magic skills. But the code for one of those Genie magic skills is actually our tutorial skill. So inside the custom class name, we are going to change this from the Genie stuff to pudding face skill tutorial. This is the namespace where our skills class is located, and then dot our class name, which is tutorial custom skill, comma, and this is where the name of our DLL goes, and that is pudding face interaction tutorial. And in the hex, we are going to write the name of our class tutorial custom skill, and then equals to the FNV32 hash of our class. So we're going to quickly calculate the FNV32 hash with S3PE and then paste it here. And in the commodity, we are going to write skill tutorial custom. I suggest adding skill as a prefix here, and then in the class name and the hex, add it as a suffix. And in the equals to, we are going to write the FNV32 hash of skill tutorial custom. And again, we're going to use S3PE for that, and then copy and paste. And now let's go back to our script and fill the bracket inside resource key. So here we're going to write the FNV64 hash of our skill instance name. So that is 0x0d625 and this number, and we're going to copy and paste it here, comma, and here we're going to write the type, and that is 0xA8. So copy and then paste. Remove the SKIL and then comma again, and here we will write our group. So that is this number 0x0000, and now let's build and test our mod. So the footage is pretty blurry. The in-game recorder doesn't take good quality recordings for Sims 3. That's why a lot of my trailers are also blurry. And if I try to use OBS, and then it comes out pretty dark. So I'm going to use the NRAS master controller mod to see my list of skills. So NRAS master controller and then advanced and then skill level, and this will show us all our skills. So the footage is blurry, but we can still make out that we have two Genie magic skills. Now, one of these is from our enhanced Genies mod, and the second one is our custom skill mod that we have just made. Okay, now I'm quitting the game, and now let's make our STBL file. So instead of Genie Magic, we will have our own name. So let's create a new .txt file. So I'm going to copy and paste from my Genie's txt file for the translation. So this key is our code and str is where the actual string goes. So now I'm going to replace the Genie stuff with our own, and I'm going to name this pudding face tutorial skill name, and then here pudding face tutorial skill description, and in the str I'll write tutorial skill and then tutorial skill description and that's to show that you can put anything you want for description, and you can put anything you want for the name as well, but I'm going to call it tutorial skill. And then so instead of Genie Magic, our skill will now show up as tutorial skill. But so before we do that, we have to generate our STBL. So save this txt file, and then we're going to drag and drop it to the stbl.exe. I'm going to put a link in the description for where you can find this tool, and it's the same one that we used in our Moodlet tutorial. And now let's import our STBL file that we generated. And here in type, select STBL, and in group we'll put 0, and for name I'm going to pick pudding face skill tutorial and then FNV64, and here we are going to change these two numbers to 00. 00 is for English since my game is in English. If your game is in a different language, you will need the language code for that game. Otherwise, this skill will not show up. And now let's also change it here in our skill list. We're going to copy from our txt. In skill name and skill description, we are going to write what we chose in our txt file. So that's pudding face tutorial skill name and then pudding face tutorial skill description. To create a French translation, let's say, I'm going to duplicate this file, and then I'm going to add a fr suffix and then fnv64, and for French I believe the language code is 07, so we're going to replace these two numbers with 07. And if you want to edit the STBL, you can just double click and go here, and so I'm going to change the French STBL to the tutorial the skill. And anyway, so let's test now and see if our STBLs are working. Okay, and here we can see that our skill now called tutorial skill is appearing here. And the skill we made here is a very basic skill. To create a more advanced skill with its own skill journal, that is more complicated, but I think with this tutorial it will get you started on it and it will help you figure that out. And in most cases this kind of basic skill is more than enough, like my vampirism skill for my enhanced vampires mod and genie magic skill for enhanced genies mod. They both work just fine. You can combine interactions with your own animations plus moodlets plus skills to create completely new systems in the game. Okay, so and as a bonus for watching this tutorial completely, I'm going to show you something I'm working on for my next enhanced witches mod update. So this is the familiars. So witches can now summon familiars, and this is the cat familiar. This cat has maximum hunting skill. Its appearance is randomized, so it can appear as any breed, maybe even some mixed breed. And this is our canine familiar, the dog familiar, and this breed can also be random and it can be a large dog or a small dog. It's also going to have maximum skill in dog hunting. So a witch with canine familiar will be able to use their dog to get them gems and other items for alchemy. And finally here we have our horse familiar. The horse breed can also be random and horses will have maximum running and jumping skill, so you can use it to quickly travel around. If you're playing in a medieval type world where there's no roads for cars, you can use this horse familiar to quickly move around town. So this feature is still being worked on and I can't say when I'm going to release it, but stay tuned. And that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, give it a like and take care.